In lots of countries, being gay just still isn't accepted. It's just not on the radar of many people. It's just not something that's talked about in the same way it is here in Australia. So what we'd say to students is to think about that before you go away. Don't presume that how you live here is going to be accepted in another country. It may well be, and it may be perfectly fine, but just take some time to think about it.
You want to know what the laws are, you want to know what the cultural climate is like, and you want a sense of how you're going to fit into that. So, you know, homosexuality is not criminalised in Indonesia, but there's certainly a lot of cultural stigma to it, and I was aware of that going into it. I think actually on the surface of it, the real way that it made a difference in my experience was the taxi drivers would constantly ask if I had a wife. It's a cultural thing. People will ask you probably quite a lot whether you are married, and you know, for me, I took the decision that it's always easier just to go along with it. So, you know, you want to be true to yourself, but you go through the path of least resistance. And a lot of the time, it wouldn't necessarily be that, you know, if you said something to the contrary, that you would be hurt or that you would be put in any danger. But there's cultural, you know, there's cultural elements to it. People aren't expecting a different answer. And, you know, I think it's a really personal decision. And the decision that I took was to just, you know, leave it alone.
I would say that in Asia in general, the attitudes towards homosexuality vary wildly from a country like Thailand, where people, you know, homosexuality has been out in the open for decades, to just neighbouring Myanmar, where it's criminal. In Cambodia, it's somewhere in between. The society is socially conservative, and homosexuality is probably, as a general rule, considered strange and abnormal. But people are also very sort of open and easygoing, and I think that you find that in time, if you tread carefully, you will find people opening up to those kind of things.
But that said, I certainly didn't feel like I needed to hide anything. You know, the other people that I was interning with, you know, other friends that I made and I got quite close to, I certainly didn't lie, because I didn't personally feel like I had to. But I think really at the end of the day, it's just about being conscious. You want to be aware, you want to have a sense of what the climate is like, and go to it that way. I don't think it's anything to be scared of. I think there's considerations that you have to make anywhere in the world, including in Australia. But as long as you're aware of it and you have a sense of what you want to do and how you're going to go about it, you're generally okay. You know, I met my partner over there, and we began our relationship over there, and it wasn't a problem. So, you know, I think when you look at the kind of religious differences, you know, clearly a Muslim majority country, you know, people take it very seriously. Their society is based around religion. You know, you've got ID cards where you have to identify as one of 5 religions. You can't actually identify as an atheist, just because it's not something people really understand. They don't process it, and so, you know, you've got to be aware of that. You've got to be open-minded. You've got to be culturally sensitive, and it doesn't really pose too much of a difficulty.
Gay people, they don't have much right there, although there's this Pink Dot Parade, the Gay Pride Parade in Singapore is held once a year. Like, the government is not very open towards the Lgbti community and stuff like that, so like, much of the people are not open about their sexuality in Singapore.
It was kind of something I hadn't seen reported a lot in Indonesia. It seemed to be something that was kept quite hush-hush until this issue had arisen, but it was weird to see unfold, and all the hateful and very cruel things really that important people in Indonesia said, you know, leaders of political parties, members of parliament, universities, just the things that happened and were said were just, it was shocking, to be perfectly clear. So that was something that was quite confronting, and it was quite kind of hard to, I think, reconcile about that was the situation in Indonesia.
So obviously, yeah, just again, reading into the culture, understanding the culture, and as unfair as it sometimes may be, some countries are just in a completely different mindset to our country. So, yeah.